Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Carl Hinder, business coach with Salon Help. Okay, we're a minute or two behind, but I did promise you that we have new software, and we have got new software. We're just waiting on a new camera, new microphone, and some other bits, but we are up and running. So tonight, we are going to be talking about not so much the blueprint. We're going to get rid of that if we can, and we can't get rid of it. I don't know why we can't get rid of that. We're going to be talking about QCTV and okay. So a few things we're going to talk about tonight. First of all, my name is Carl Hinder. I'm the business coach with Salon Help, and tonight and every Wednesday in 2020, I do something called Quick Coach TV. The whole idea of Quick Coach TV is you get to ask your questions, I get to answer them as quickly as possible. But before we start tonight, can I ask you to do some things? Can I ask the first couple of people to say, hi, Carl, and we can hear you nice and clear, because I don't want to spend the next hour ranting at myself. So what are we going to have a look at here? We're going to look at this, and let's have a look where we are. We've got VAT. Okay, are we all on board? Let's give you, okay. So I've got blueprint that we will cover in a little way if people need to talk about it, but QCV tonight is going to be about VAT or any other issues that you want to cover. So Deborah Jenkins says hi, Vicky Cummins says hi, Lisa Whitehouse says Carl and clear. That's what we like. Carl loud and clear. Thank you very much. Hi, Carl, and I can hear you. Do you know what? I've done this a few times, and I've been 20 minutes in before anybody has said anything. So tonight, what I'd like you to do, first of all, can you ask other people to join us, other salon owners, salon managers, anyone trying to develop themselves or their business. Now, this is QCTV, so if this is the first time you joined me, then there's nothing wrong with me. I don't speak this fast all of the time, although I do speak quite quickly. This is about making sure that for the next hour, you get as much information as I can get you. It's free coaching for 1 hour. Now, I'm going to get you answers. I'm going to give you direction. I'm going to give you inspiration to go and change something. So you get up tomorrow morning, guys, you stop painting your kitchens and your bathrooms and your living rooms, and you get out there and change something about your business before we all go back in whatever it is. So, guys, you can ask anything you want. Darren from Ireland, that's fabulous. We've got Deborah from New Zealand as well on here, so we get a bit of an international thing going slowly. I'm sure we got to throw a few people in from Wales and some other countries. That's absolutely fantastic. Michael's on board as well. Now, can I ask you to make sure that you're following me on Facebook, that you're ringing the bell so that you get notifications every week? I'm here literally every single week on a Wednesday night throughout 2019, every Wednesday night. 2020, every Wednesday night. Now, this year, it's a little bit different. Apart from the odd week here and there, this is a dual broadcast. Normally, I have a guest on here, but I don't interview them. I get them to answer your questions with me, with both front-facing. So, Toria's on board. I come across you a lot today, Toria, and Gary. Suffolk. I was up at Suffolk the other day, Gary. Much drier than Wales for sure. So the whole idea is for me to give you answers to your questions as quickly as I can. Now, if any of you are having real big business problems, if you can't sleep tonight, trust me, if I can't answer your question in 1 or 2 minutes, then your problems are probably a bit bigger. But don't stress, don't worry. On a Wednesday night, I work straight after the show as well. Just drop me a line. We'll either do a private video or phone call. You don't need to go to bed stressed or worried about anything tonight, okay? So it's really important that you utilize this hour. We get as many people on board as we can. And remember, it's QCTV. Now, normally it's a phone in, but with the new software, I'm just keeping it to these messages. Simon's on board. Simon, great poll over on the coaching group, sir. I really like that, and I think some people are going to follow you with that this week. Emma's got some other people on board. Look, the more people you get on board, the better for me, the better for you, because I don't want to sit here with an empty screen talking for an hour. So the more people, the more I'll continue to do this every single week. You can suggest the subject, and tonight I'll answer anything you want as long as it's helping you move forward. It's all about progression. It's all about making things better for you and your business. COVID-19, I'm not going to talk about that. Not a lot anyway. I'm not going to spend my hour or your hour, guys, speculating about when we're going back, when we're not. Who knows? Nobody knows. We're not doing that. I'm not going to be talking to you about should I have claimed for universal credit, because if you haven't, you're already skint and you should have done it 4 weeks ago. So we're going to be talking about real business issues that I can help you with, tangible things that you can go and do tomorrow, plan anything that's going to change you or your business. Okay, Paul Taylor's on board. Okay, so Paul's on board. Let's have a look what we got here. Keep your questions short, guys, because when I put these up on the screen, if they're really, really big, it goes over my head. Okay, so, and I don't mean over my head as in I don't know what to say. I mean over my face, so I can't actually see you guys any longer, or you can't see me for sure. I want good staff earning good money. The shop next door is doing exactly the same as me, but we pay 20 more staff than they do. Okay, so I don't know if, is that a question, Paul? That actually sounds like a statement. I want good staff earning good money. The shop next door is doing exactly the same as me, but we pay 20% more than they do. Paul, make that, give me another question. What's the question? What do you want me to say? It sounds like that you're ahead of the competition. How are you going to turn that into money? Is that what you're asking me? Let's roll on with that, Paul, and expand a little bit. Lisa, great to see you on again. Gillian, you haven't missed much. We've been on here about 8 or 9 minutes. I'm on full blast here. You haven't missed much at all, so there's nothing for you to worry about. Please ask your questions. Anything in our business that you need help with. If the questions don't come up, I'll be talking about VAT, because today on a lot of the forums, and in fact, probably the last couple of weeks, but I saw a few more today, there were a few issues regarding VAT. So Paul, just for those of you, by the way, who might put a question up or ask something, we've got Tracy from Essex. That sounds great, Tracy. Thank you very much. There is about a 30 to 40 second delay with most social media, okay, particularly Facebook. So after you ask a question, I might not actually see it for 30 or 40 seconds or the other way around. So there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with the system. It's just how social media runs these days. So here we go. Let's start. First of all, I want to tell you what's happening in the next few weeks, because I know it's not too bad with me solo, but we do have guests. We've had great guests for the last few months. Next week, we've got a guest, but he hasn't confirmed, but we've got a gentleman next week from the barbering sector. The following week, we have got Marta. She's not on here yet. She's from the beauty sector. She's a waxing expert and an entrepreneur. So she's going to be talking about single service businesses. Okay, it's not a matter that it's actually waxing from the beauty sector. It's about single service businesses. How can a business that only does one thing do so great? Okay, I think that's a really, really interesting subject for all of us, and I'm interested in getting some information from Marta as well. And then the following week, we're going to double back to Gemma. Now, Gemma was with us last week. The software went kaput, so we ended up diving into a Zoom box or a Zoom room. So apologies to those of you trying to get in. We just couldn't do it. We had 3-4 minutes. It all went wrong. Gemma kind of hit the Zoom box. We went in there. It was okay for the people in there. So we're going to bring her back so that everyone on this page can actually get access to Gemma. Now, Gemma is a marketing expert. So next week, barbering, and it's going to be about coaching. It's going to be about training courses. It's going to be about being positive. It's about going back in your business, not just in barbering, but your salon. The following week, we're going to be talking about single service businesses, really interesting. Booking systems, we're going to be talking about that as well. And then the following week, we're going to be talking about marketing. So you've got VAT and business this week. Then you've got barbering and systems. Then you've got not marketing. Marketing is the last one. And then you've got waxing and single business. So you have got an awful lot. Gary, we're hopefully opening our first shop in 2020. Are we mad? Let's have a look. Are we mad? We expect to be registered for VAT in 2021. Do we swallow 20% increase or move it to our customers? Gary, this is the thing on VAT. Now, when I give you this advice, guys, until I can delve into your business, you have to appreciate that this is a broad piece of advice. So, Gary, don't go off and buy 6 shops on the premise of what I'm telling you in a 30-second answer, okay? But this is how most businesses would benefit from this approach. If you're going to open in September, October, I wouldn't say that was crazy at all. Depends on what your plan is. What have you got written down? What is your ambition? How are you going to get these people in? Why should they come to you? And those of you that looked and spoke to me last week about the blueprint, will know that we talked about what is it in the blueprint that makes customers come to you. So write that down, Gary. Write down what is going to make customers come to me and stay. And those of you worrying about staffing, what is going to make staffing come to me and stay? Those are the two corners, if you like, of this particular issue. So first of all, you're going to open the salon in September, October. Are you going to be open? What kind of access you're going to have? We don't know. I'm guessing nobody knows. I wouldn't postpone or delay it unless the restrictions are as bad as they are right this minute. It's all about you being professional, Gary, and having a setup that drags these people in. What I would say is that VAT, because tonight is mainly about VAT, and I want to make sure we hit it. When you say you're going to hit it in 2021, let's say you're going to hit it in June of 2021, I would say to you, your prices when you open have to be correct. Okay, that's the most important. You have to calculate them that they're correct. And Gary, please, 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 please don't look at your competition for a moment when setting your prices. Please tell me that you're not doing that. Secondly, if you're going to hit VAT in 2021 in June, then in January or February, you need to put your VAT prices up. Reasons for this. You need to kind of start training your clients that this is the new price. Secondly, you want to start diverting that extra sales figure into your bank account so that you're used to collecting VAT. See, it's a psychology thing, guys. VAT is about collection of tax. It's not about charging the, well, it is about charging the customer because they got to pay for it, but you're just collecting tax. It's not increasing your prices. Your price is the same and it has tax on top. It's a mindset thing, guys. So in January, February, make sure that you put your prices up to include the 20% VAT that you're going to charge in June and start diverting it off into a separate bank account. So the first time that you have to pay your VAT bill, you've got the money ready and you've got a few months to educate and train your clients that this is the reality of coming to our business because we are VAT registered and we are fully legal and operating as such. Gary, I hope that's given you some kind of answer. Right, Gary, let's get you off there. What's your future vision on the threshold? Paul, my future vision, reading between all the lines, and I gotta say, I think some of this is my desire as well, so I'll declare my hand. I got a feeling that the way VAT is going to move, I think it's going to move down. So I think the threshold in a few years' time, and I think we're going to go through a few steps, I think we're going to get hit, all businesses, at around £20,000. And that way, it's going to drag in so many businesses. Now, I personally would like that. I would like to see all our salons, all our barbershops, all our clinics, they hit 20 grand, they pay VAT. And the reason I would like that, because it would bring more people in. It'd be a level playing field, because not many businesses are going to be on the high street taking less than 20 grand. Because the rent alone and your overheads are going to be over that. So it's not going to be real. It's going to be hard to really fake it any longer. So I think that's where it's going to head. Now, that was my answer before this recession came. I don't know how far away that is now. I don't know if the government is going to speed that up, escalate it, because they're now going to gather all this tax from all the furloughing and all the grants they've given out and all that sort of stuff. Maybe they'll accelerate it, but I got a feeling we're going to be frozen for a couple of years whilst they work out what on earth is going on, and then they will actually, I think, bring the threshold down and get more people into that, and that's going to include an awful lot of renter chairs as well, guys. So that's what I think is coming, and that's just my view from listening and reading things in the grapevine. Okay, through the grapevine, should I say? Okay, we got Gary. Jane Collins on board. I got to do a flash for Jane here. Hi, Jane. Thank you. It's great to speak to you a fair amount today as well. Okay, let's have a look. What's this? How do you good of tutorial or quick course on chin shaving, please? Gillian, go on to my shaving page. Okay, from when I used to have a shaving company. It's called Real Barber Shave. It's on YouTube. There's about 10 videos there. I've left them there, even though I closed down the shaving company. I would start there. If not, there's lots of great shavers around. I can easily find you one. Lots of my colleagues and friends are fabulous at this. And if you tell me, I know what area you're in, I can actually recommend someone not far from you. Okay, Gary, that's good. You've already have a home-based salon. So you've got the systems, but you're still going to need a plan on how you're going to push that out. I'm suggesting you got one, and maybe if it's a really big plan, maybe you do want to talk to someone like me on a more on a one-to-one basis, because there's going to be a lot of things for you to think about. It's not just as easy as rolling out of your your home-based salon, whether that's a log cabin or something, and just rolling into the high street. Things change, and they change really, really quickly. Okay, who do we got on here? I tell you what we got on here. We got a cup of tea time guys on here. Bear with me one moment. Okay, now Vicky says, I made the silly mistake of paying my staff commission on earnings, including VAT. I've tried a few times to deduct it off the structure, but the staff don't want a 20% loss of earnings. What can I do? So first of all, when you say you made a silly mistake of paying my staff commission on earnings, including VAT. So you pay, Vicky, this sounds like a really sticky one, right? This sounds like a really sticky one, Vicky. I shouldn't have said that now. Because you have gone to, if that's in their contracts or you've gone over a 12-week period, you're not going to be able to retract that. So what you're going to have to do in this case is you are going to have to escalate their targets, all right? This is really, really important. Vicky, if you are not setting these people targets, you are going to be in the dumps for an awful long time. So tell me, Vicky, how are you setting these guys targets? Have they got to take 3 or 4 times their wage before they get this commission? I don't know, what did you say? Where does it come straight in? Okay, you don't tell me when it actually takes action, but you're going to have to increase their targets, and then you're going to have to hold them accountable. If you want to speak to me about that, I can help you, or you can go to my YouTube channel, have a look for 3 times wages in my videos. It covers that. But legally, you're not going to be able to do anything in terms of changing those conditions, but you will be able to increase the target as long as you keep the terms the same. So you have to do something, Vicky. Whatever happens, you have to do something. You can't just accept it as a big bad mistake. Of course, they don't want to take 20% less. However, if you continue to pay 20% more than you can afford, none of them are going to have a job, are they? So there's a bit of a reality check here. There are things you can do. We could look at things like consultations. You could look at things like layoffs. You could look at things like redundancies, but those are fairly negative things, and we want to look at building a good, strong business above everything else. So, Vicky, if you want to talk privately, that's cool. If you want to tell me that you've got targets and you're holding them to them, you can tell me on here tonight, because that's the way you've got to go. They're going to have targets. That's 3 or 4 times their wages before they get this 20%. And if they're getting 20% on everything, then you are in a real jam, because the target they're going to hit is going to be pretty high. But that doesn't mean they haven't got to hit it. No judge, no tribunal is ever going to not defend you in an infeasible position. I would also join the NHF if you haven't. Speak to them and make sure you get legal advice before you dive out and do anything that I say, for sure. But if you want to speak to me, I'm happy to speak to you. How often? Okay, so David Glossy, moving on. How often do you think refurbish your shop? If you're very, very busy, I would be planning about every 3 years. Now, you don't have to rip all the walls down, because I know you like ripping walls down, David. I think if you're talking about paint, decorations, some kind of inspirational new furniture, I would be planning in my profitability every 3 years. After 5 years, I think tired, you are tired, it's going to feel tired, look tired. It's not going to be as good. One caveat in this: when something feels quite bad to you in your salon, okay, about 4 salons, guys, I understand. Sometimes it feels not very nice to you. We used to really pretty much decorate ours every single year. There was always something new happening. But don't forget, you see it every day. Maybe you see it 300 days a year. So you kind of think it's worn out. You think it's awful. Your clients might only come 12 days a year. So they don't have the same perspective as you. So the key thing with your business is that it is clean, right? That's the number one thing. Really, really squeaky clean. Even make it smell clean. Make it smell of coffee. Make it smell of nice things, okay? So having it clean, smelling nice, clean windows is half the battle. And maybe you can extend refurbishments because clients don't see it as badly as you do. Then you need to look at what was the Giuliano, the what was he? The mayor of New York. Remember, he had a zero tolerance policy. Have that in your salon. Do you know, you get that first chair and there's a nick in the arm, repair it. Okay, don't wait a week, don't wait a month. Okay, repair it there and then. You go beyond reception, there's a bit of paint peeling off. On Sunday, get in there, sand it down, paint it over. Okay, so have a zero tolerance policy to having standards deteriorate in your business. Keep the place absolutely really, really clean. Okay, and then plan for refurbishments, and I would be looking at some level of refurbishment about every 3 years. Okay, who we got next? Ryan's up. Hey, Carl, hope you're well, buddy. Ryan, I am absolutely fantastic. We are in lockdown. I tell you what, Salon Help is doing so much new stuff. This is a fabulous opportunity for you guys, for you, Ryan, for all of you to change the things in your business. We are bringing forward so many things. You're going to see things like audiobooks. You're going to see things like podcasting, all the things I was planning for later in the summer, all rolling up over the next few weeks, guys. So you've got to do the same. Make the best of this situation. Lisa says, oh my God, this was nearly me. Managed to find the button on the software to turn VAT off, and they haven't realized. So scared, but I couldn't tell them. Okay, Lisa, well, it's a good job that you found it, but it's not pressing the button that's the problem. It's contractual obligation. So don't worry about the software or anything you write on a piece of paper until it's a contractual obligation. You haven't got to worry about that percentage, but you are right. We've got to make sure that our staff are not getting rewarded for the VAT figure that you have to collect. There's ways around it. Honestly, guys, maybe if you don't want to find me privately, message me and I'll do something on my group regarding this situation, okay? So I can do a 10-minute thing on the Salon Help Business Coaching Group. If you're not on there at the moment, you are welcome to go over there and join, but only if you're interested in business. If you're interested in haircuts and nails, don't come, please. If you're interested in business, going forwards and changing, come over there. Lisa, remind me about that issue. And who is it? Vicky as well. This is a problem, but it can be overcome. Yeah, you cannot pay commission on VAT. That's madness. It's nuts, guys. Okay, Gary gives me a thumbs up. Thanks, Gary. That's great. Okay, Gillian says, cool, refurbished to claim back. See, David, that's a really good point as well. Talking about VAT. If you're VAT registered, you can schedule a refurb, plan it in, because what you have to do first of all, mind, is make sure that your prices are right, so you're collecting enough money, so you got enough profit to use for the refurbishment. That's the number one thing. Don't just go and get another loan and then you're on the back foot again. Make sure that you're planning for the refurbishment. But of course, most of this stuff can be claimed on VAT, so you're going to get a nice big saving of 20% as well. And for some salons, this is hair salons, and this data is about 5 years old, so I apologize if anybody's trying to find it. There is an indication that if you have a full refurbishment, your sales grow by between 20 and 25% in the first year if you use it as part of your marketing, okay? So, you know, if you're going to have a, I don't know, let's say 10, 20,000 pound refurbishment, then of course you've got to market that. You've got to make sure your prices go up. You've got to make sure that the service reflect it. That could give you a 20 or 25% increase in sales anyway. So you need to balance it all up, guys. A refurbishment is not something that is just you know, something that's just something you do on spur of the moment. It should be planned, it should be scheduled, it's part of your marketing, it's part of your tools, it's something that you should do every day. Hi, Melissa, thanks for joining me tonight. Hope you're well. Gary says, thank you, Carl. We will be in touch. No problem, Gary. I'm happy to help you. It sounds like a relatively easy thing to do if we weren't in this issue, in this recession, wouldn't it? I'm not worried about the recession as a whole, guys. You'll see me pretty much not worried about the recession at all. And there's something I wanted to talk to you about. I did a private one on this on my group the other day. When you're looking at business, when you're looking at news, this is a really important concept for you to worry about, or think about, shall I say, over the next few months. The recession is going to give lots of you different challenges, and some parts of the UK will be more pressure and more recession-proof than others. But just because there's a lot of bad news, okay, just because you put the TV on, just because you put on social media and you hear lots and lots and lots and lots of bad messages, it doesn't necessarily mean things have got worse, okay? You could just hear bad messages. And because people love bad messages, because the news channels love bad messages, you're going to hear a lot of them, but it doesn't mean things are getting worse. I'm not talking about the coronavirus itself, okay? That's something that I'm not a specialist in. But in terms of recession, it's not always as bad as the media make it sound. And you need to look at your own personal circumstances. There's lots of great businesses out there. They're not even open yet, perhaps, and going to be great businesses over the next year because they handle this recession in the best possible way. Okay, Vicky says, I'll come back to you, Paul, sorry. Thank you. I'll look into your YouTube. They have a target 2 times 5. Okay, Vicky, I can tell you before we even get to my video, 2 times 5, okay, or 2.5, sorry, times their wage is absolutely not worth it. And in more salons, probably, definitely yours, in fact, if you used to sack them all, you would be no worse off profit-wise tomorrow. 2.5 day wage, nothing ever happens. It's a figure that does not help anyone at all. 3 times your wage or 3 times their wage without this problem with VAT starts to move you towards where you need to be. You need to be 3.5 and 4 times their wage before you're going to get any money out of them standing in your shop. So don't be afraid. If you can't change the people, Vicky, you might have to change the people. Okay, Alison says, okay, okay, nice one, Alison. Geez, I have, no wonder I have no profit. I decorate every year. Look, I don't think a bit of decoration is out of order. We used to do it with our salons. But when you start in big refurbishments and you're getting in consultants and you're replacing £5,000 chairs and Italian mirrors and knocking down walls, that is not something you want to be doing every year. Okay, guys, so we seem to be up to speed. Did I miss? I went flying straight past Paul, I think. Did we catch Paul? Let's have a look where we are, Paul. Paul Taylor says, there we go. See, I will catch Paul. What's been done about barbershops? You could pay VAT, but they don't. Right, what's being done about it is absolutely nothing, Paul. That's the problem. Okay, so I think that this virus issue, this recession, has brought the focus on that because this is what's happened. There's so many barbershops and so many rent-a-chair workers, I'm not sure which one's which in this particular scenario, who don't pay VAT. Now, I'm not saying they're doing that necessarily illegally. What I'm saying is they are using the system to avoid paying VAT. Now, when we had this issue 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and people started saying, oh my gosh, I want furlough, I want to get a business loan, I want the grants, I've got to go and claim universal credit. Okay, all of these things are these same people putting pen to paper, telling the government, I actually work here. Yeah, I work here and I need your help because I'm not paying any tax. Okay, could be legitimate, maybe it's not. So they are telling the government, I work here, I don't pay tax. Do you think, Paul, really, do you think the government is going to ignore this sea of information when it's going to have, I don't know, 500 billion in debt after this crisis? They're not going to avoid it. So I don't know what's being done about it. Nothing traditionally speaking, not just barbershops, lots of salons and beauty salons and barbershops have managed to avoid VAT by using the rules to their benefit. Okay, I don't know if I can be more subtle than that, but Paul, you're right. We need to have a discussion because there's some things need to be gone into more detail. Okay, who we got here? Vicky says, thank you. I will look into YouTube. Yep, we got that. Great, Vicky. Go and have a look. It's on tonight. It's about 20 minutes long, and it's actually, if anybody wants to look at it, it's actually done in slow motion in the middle part, where I speak really slowly like this, because I did it for one of my clients to show his staff to try and explain to them how the targets work. Okay, so it's great for you. You can go and play it to your staff or your team as well. Okay, so we got Toria on board. Hi, Toria. It's been good to catch up with you a couple of times today. Okay, Toria says, we have a target of 3 times wage, and then everything over that target after VAT, they get 20% or 30%. Should we be looking at paying the percentage commission on the whole total rather than no, you're doing it right, Toria. I'm not sure whether the percentages are right. I don't know what your figures are like, but this is a system that normally works, something like this, where they got to get at least 3 times their wage. Okay, that's the first important part. And it depends on your build-up. So if it's air extensions, it's got to be 5 or 6 or 7 times your wage. So for you, it could be right at 3 times your wage. Great. Not including VAT. Great. and then they get a good commission, okay, 20, 30, 40% on everything after their target. And that's great. That's what we want. We're talking about staff. Well, I'm talking about staff like they are, the enemy here. That's not what we're trying to say. I'm trying to say you as salon owners have to manage them in a responsible way. You have to performance manage them. And then when they do achieve, wow, yeah, of course we got to reward them, guys. We've got to make sure that they have everything. So they are driven, they're ambitious about hitting those targets. So Toria, I don't think you're far off. Maybe there's a tweak or two to be had, but that is the kind of system that can work quite well. Okay, we've got Deborah in New Zealand. I'm a barbershop. I pay GST. How do they avoid it? Deborah, no, you've got to appreciate that I'm not able to tell you how to use tax avoidance schemes, whether they're legal or not. It's not something that I do. I'm quite sure a woman of your experience can work out how they avoid it. In the UK, what happens is this, and this is an important one that I wanted to bring up tonight. So you can read between the lines here, Deborah. One of the problems is this. A salon owner, it doesn't have to be a barber, it can be any salon, brings in a team member. They say to them, you are now self-employed, okay, but I still want you to do these hours. I still want you to work like this. I still want you to do the nails like this. I want you to use these products. I want you to sell these products. And then what we do is we then split that sale with them. Now, if that was an employee, okay, if they was getting paid on PAYE, paying tax, national insurance, pensions, maternity, all that sort of stuff, that salon employer would have to pay, if they were over the threshold of 85,000, would have to pay, what did you call it, GST on the whole lot. But because the sale is split between two people, two companies in effect, they only have to pay VAT on half of it, on the bit that they are keeping. Okay, so, and that might mean for many businesses that they might have 5 staff all paying, I don't know, £300 each a week, and they'll never reach the VAT level. Whereas if they were all staff, they would go straight over the VAT level, and then they would have more liability as a business. So that's one of the key things, Deborah. But to tell you the ins and outs of tax avoidance is not a thing to be done on QCTV. Now, guys, let me just tell you where we are and what we're doing. So this is Quick Coach TV, QCTV. It's every Wednesday night in 2020, 2019 as well, 2020, 8:30 p.m. British summertime, when I'm on here from 8:30 to 9:30, answering your questions as quickly as I can to make sure you got some inspiration, some direction, so you can go and do something different tomorrow with your business and make sure that you're improving it. Go and improve your business, go and improve yourself, okay? QCTV every Wednesday night. And as I said at the beginning, if you missed it, we do have guests coming on board. And if any of you are stressed out and you think your business is in dire straits, don't go to bed tonight unhappy. Drop me a line straight after this show. I'll be happy to speak to you, okay, guys? There's plenty of support out there for you. There's plenty of support with Salon Help as well. Okay, Michael Putney's on board. Okay, let's have a look at Michael. Okay, have you thought about making your target app also targeted at the stylist? One for the owner, one for the stylist, so they can see the benefits of earning more. Michael, in the app, there is a target section so that the staff can see where they are. Now, what I didn't want to do with the app is actually turn it into some sort of accountancy package, but I can see the benefit of what you're saying. However, for most people, we haven't even got as far as getting your staff to hit a target. Okay, and the reason I developed the app, because I wanted to make sure that someone within the industry, I work with dozens and dozens and dozens of salons every year, as you know, Michael. I see the operational problems, and there's no point in me giving a solution to something that is absolutely minuscule, because I got a feeling that there's probably maybe 3 or 4% of people actually targeting their staff properly and performance managing them. So, Michael, I'm going to take that point. I think it's a fabulous point. The whole software is developing, is changing. If you looked at it last week and this week, it's actually changed. It's like an evolving, an evolving piece of software. It's developing, and it's, software development. It'll become bigger and better all the time as the months and years roll on. At the moment, it just really gives you the price that you need to charge to go and make a profit. But good point, Michael. And I think we need to have more focus in the industry, first of all, on getting staff to actually make more money. Just simply do bigger multiples of their salary. That's the most important. Bigger multiples of their salary. Okay, here we go. Who we got? Melissa's on board. Is it better to have staff on commission after 3 times their wages after VAT? Is it better to have staff on commission? Yes, after 3 times their wage, or even after 4 times their wage. It really depends on your price point. See, if you're doing £5 haircuts, but they're still getting paid £12, okay, they're never going to get to 4 or 5 times their wage. And that's why you got to make sure that it's achievable. And that's why the price has got to be right. You hear me talk a lot about correct pricing. I don't talk a lot about high pricing because that's almost irrelevant. I want you guys to have the correct price. That's what's important. That's what's relevant, okay? So, should you have percentage after VAT? So yes, you got to ignore the VAT because that's going off to the tax man, and then you put your commission on after 3 times wages. But like I said, that could be 3 or 4 or 5, depending on your price point and depending on your types of service. I mean, you could do something like micropigmentation, and one client could be £1,000. So and if you're on £10 an hour, that target doesn't work. So it's got to be right for your clients. If you're a barber's doing £10 or £12 cuts, and you're only paying the barber £10, then that 3 or 4 times wage is much more achievable. Okay, it's all about the individual delivering enough money before you reward them, and that's what we've got to do. Deborah's back. Deborah, okay, where are we? Deborah, I thought I cut you off then, Deborah. Right, I don't want to avoid it. Only employ and pay hourly. I want control. Okay, so right, I get you. So you don't want control, and that's right. I mean, I think Deborah's giving me a hint here. The problem that salons have, and I'm going to speak to someone in the next few days. I've got a couple of people actually who have got salons, barbershops, hairdressers, and they've got quite large teams of self-employed workers. Deborah's got a team in New Zealand that I know, a small to medium team, and they're employed. Now, the reason I encourage employment on the whole has got nothing to do with VAT and taxation. Okay, it's to do with control. It's to do with saying to one person, I want you to work Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, and they have to be there at 9 and they have to finish at 5. And it's about saying to them, I want you to cut in this way. You know, it's about you having control. How can you grow a brand if you've got people in your business that don't work for you? Okay, so you've got to, it's all about, and when I say control, I don't mean like they're robots, these people. It's about you being able to, getting them to conform to your blueprint. We did that on the group the other day. It's about getting them to work to a standard that represents your business. And you can't do that with self-employed workers. And you definitely can't do it legally. Okay, Deborah, thank you for that prompt. Okay, Lisa, I've seen you here somewhere. How are you? I'm stressed. Well, that's not good, Lisa. You're not supposed to come on here and be stressed. I'm the one that's going 100 miles an hour trying to get the information out of you. I know the situation you're in, Lisa. We have crossed over the last few days. I think you might need some more detailed consultation really for your process because you've got a complicated setup, but you shouldn't be stressed. None of you should be stressed with your business. And if you are stressed for a short time, then you've got to use that opportunity to go and do something different. So Lisa, if you've been stressed for the last year, that's your fault, and it's your fault because you haven't done anything. Okay, you haven't done anything to change it. So the stress should be your trigger. God, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm going to go and do something. Okay, I'm going to go and change my staffing. I'm going to go and change my commission structures. I'm going to go and change my pricing. I'm going to change my services. I'm going to change my staff altogether. I'm going to get a different accountant. I'm going to get a business coach. Whatever it is you got to do, you have to do something to change the structure, because otherwise your stress isn't going away, Lisa. Okay, what we got? We got Toria. Listen, guys, it's now 9:15 almost. I've been talking flat out for almost 45 minutes. I'd like to thank you all for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you taking your time out on a Wednesday night. And I'm here every Wednesday night from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. And please bring people along next week as well. Let's keep this group going. And I want to help as many as I can. So Toria says, would you suggest an hourly rate? We are over minimum wage, and on paper, I like to increase hourly wage. However, that in turn makes their wage harder to hit. However, I think sometimes staff would look only at their hourly wage as an indication that they feel being right. Okay, listen, let me say this about wages and commissions and benefits and incentives. You're asking the wrong person, because the person you should ask is the one in your salon. You see, something motivates everyone. There's going to be people in your salon that wouldn't care if they were on £10 an hour or £10.50 or £10 an hour or £11. All right. Some people would like a massive commission so they can work their socks off and get themselves a Porsche. Other people want to know, I'm having my £11 because I've got 3 children, because I've got a mortgage, because I got, you know, a big drinking habit, whatever it is, guys. So I'm not saying you should have a different structure for them all. What I'm saying is you need to know your staff better. You need to learn and understand what switches them on. Some salons, I've worked with some fabulous salons that do weekends away, weeks on islands, weeks in Mexico. And the team are on pretty average wages, but they work really hard for this one actual goal. Now, that might work in some salons and it doesn't work in others. I know some people giving away 40% commission, but their prices are so small, they never, ever, guys, going to get there. So you've got to put a package together. You've got to work out with the team what would make you work harder, and then you've got to make it achievable, and then you've got to hold them accountable. And that's the bit, guys, you don't like. You think a commission structure should just work. You think by saying to someone, here's £10 an hour, and once you go over £400, I'm going to give you 20%. You think that they should wake up the next day and go, wow, yeah, I'm going to do that. They have got no idea. You've got to take them through it. You've got to make sure they got the training in place. Do they understand how to retail? Do they understand how to communicate with the client? Do they know what to say? What are the words they need to use? What words do they need to do when they answer the phone? Do they rebook? Do they give out introduce a friend cards? Are they building their columns? Listen, guys, we're going off the boil here. But the answer is you need to find out amongst your team what they want. Personally, I think everybody needs a good core wage. I think it's more important to have a good core wage with a smaller commission. I'm not even sure that most places need commission. I would rather you had incentives. Okay, and that's different again, because incentives are short-term goals, and it's easy to get incentivized, isn't it? Imagine you said to someone, listen, guys, here's your wage. It's 13, 14 pounds an hour. Everyone's like, yeah. And this month we're doing a special deal. And not this month, guys. I know we're on close down. We're doing a special deal that those of you that hit your target, or whoever hits the highest target, or whatever it is, gets a week off paid. Okay. Now, those who are highly motivated by not working will work their socks off, knowing that they're going to get a good minimum wage, pay all the bills at home, and get a week off, maybe with the family, maybe with the children, maybe they can go somewhere nice when all this is over. So you've got to start thinking, guys. You're too blinkered. You're thinking in steps and stages. And this is the same when you go onto forums. You're asking other people what works for them, and you're copying it. And it's the same with prices. How much are your blow dries? £45. Oh, well, then I'll do mine at £45. You're in London. They're in Manchester. It's got no relation. And it's the same with incentives. Start thinking about it. Speak to your teams, but get smart. Work out what do these people really, really want. Okay, Lisa, no, 3 days. Okay. Okay. Oh, Ellie's on board. She said sorry that she's late. Okay, I done. Okay, let's go back, Lisa. Lisa says, done that. Remember, with the business. Lisa, I didn't want to bring that up. Okay, but yeah. Okay, it's not my place to bring that up. Lisa, I'll just give you an overview. Lisa's had some coaching, and not from me, guys, I promise. And it didn't go completely to plan. Okay, so Paul, I don't think I've answered all your questions, and I didn't actually answer the first one because I wasn't sure where you were heading about the guy next door. What I would say about this though, Paul, before you disappear, or if you're going to watch the rerun, is this: whatever is happening next door, if you're paying 20% more to get those people, it doesn't really matter what other people are doing next door. It doesn't matter what wage they're paying. It doesn't matter what prices they're charging. It's really about the culture and ethos of your business. And what you've got to be thinking about, and maybe this is what you was answering at the time, is why should this member of staff come to me? And it won't be that 20%, by the way, Paul. They might come to you for it. But the second part of that question is, why should a new member of staff come to me, and why should they stay for life? Okay, and that 20% won't do it. The 20% will just drag them from another salon. You've got to do something different for them to stay for life. If they never will stay for life, by the way, but the ethos is how do I get them to stay for a very, very long time? So that's going to be to do with, you know, staff training. It's going to be doing with incentives and commissions. It's going to be to do with the relationship you have with them, the communication. You talk to them every week. It's going to be to do with a lot more than 20%. Okay, Paul says thanks. Gary says great rules, Carl. Cheryl says great advice. Cheryl, you was quiet tonight. Gillian Smith, listen guys, we have got 12 minutes left. I will answer any questions that you want. I want to spend the next 10 minutes on VAT though, because there's a couple of things that are bothering me. Right, let me do this. Gillian and Jane, I'm sorry if I don't get your questions answered, but I got to get this sorted for you guys. VAT. I'm listening, I'm hearing Salon saying to me, if this carries on for a couple of months, I can deregister. Now, I'm not saying you can't deregister. I'm saying that really please consider it before you do that. Really forecast where your sales are going. Really forecast where your business is going to develop, because you don't want to, first of all, you can't just deregister, by the way. You've got to request to deregister. And I don't know if the government would say yes or no. I'm pretty sure at the moment they would say yes, because they understand the position we're in. But you don't want to go backwards and then start clambering back in 3 months' time, re-register and lose the claims you can for any materials you've built and for the stock you've done. You're going to have to get your accountant set up again. Have a think before you deregister. And the other thing that I heard today, and the lady who brought it up isn't here for some reason. One of the things I need you to be really, really cautious about, and that's splitting your business to avoid VAT. Okay? So what I heard today is that I've got this salon and I'm going to split my services from my retail, so that way I can avoid VAT. And this person has said, my accountant has said, great, let's go and do it. Now, I'm not saying they can't physically do it. I'm not saying the accountant can't fill out the paperwork and send it in. I can tell you that generally speaking, HMRC frown upon that kind of behavior, because what they ask you, and you can read it for yourself on government sites, they ask you for businesses to be two different types of business. Okay, so they have to be very, very different types of business. So if you had a hairdressers with a cafe in it, you could split those kinds of businesses, but you can't really split legally and easily a hairdressers with the retail products. Now, the other reason I wanted to bring that up, because if you want to take that chance, you take that chance. I'm not, you know, judge and jury on that. But what I want to say is this. If you want to split your business between retail and services, you're making a massive, you're missing a massive opportunity, sorry, to make a lot of claims, because presumably your retail must be really, really big to push you over the VAT threshold. Therefore, you should be selling even more VAT. No, sorry, even more products, so you can claim back more VAT. So look, it's not always as black and white. Accountants are notoriously, they're difficult, because as one, I think it was Richard said last week, he said accountants are dinosaurs. I think he said historians, sorry, my apologies to any accountants on here. Historians, they are working on what past information is. They don't know what we know. Business owners, entrepreneurs and coaches, they don't know what we're going to go and do. They don't know that we've got an exciting £50,000 up our sleeve in the next few months. So don't split your business, okay? It's probably not going to stand up well under taxation investigation. And you're missing an opportunity to grow your business and claim back a lot of VAT. Okay, we've got a few more. I'm going to go back to Gillian. Sorry, Gillian, we're back. Made a 100% decision up my prices. Oh, well done, Gillian. Fantastic. And they've gone with the accountant. That's great. Oh, sorry, I lost you then. I know you're nervous. Everyone is nervous when they increase prices. But you know, I know your business as well, Gillian. I don't want to say too much on here, of course, but if you don't have the correct pricing, I'm not asking you to up your prices or have high prices. I'm saying you've got to have the right price for your business. If your price is wrong, Gillian, you're not going to be in business. It's that simple. Which is more scary, okay? Trying to get new clients and be successful, or failing slowly, okay, like a death, you know, was it like the death of 1,000 whips or something, until you die and close anyway, and then you got to start all over again. James says, okay, I checked and put my prices up in February. Do you think I need to redo them? Yes, you definitely. February was one world, and now we're in a whole different world, guys. Life has changed. Things have changed. Recession is now here. We had no recession in February, guys. You've got a recession for the next year or two. The biggest, most different, unusual recession you've ever seen in your life. Even when we get back, you might have 1,000 people want your service, and you're not going to be able to serve them because they're going to have to be 2 meters apart, and one upstairs and one downstairs, and 45-minute cuts instead of 30-minute cuts. You are going to be going through all sorts of things that you could never see before. I'm not saying you need to go up. You need to check them again and make sure that you now got enough money to pay for things like extra wages, because you're going to be open more hours. You're going to have extra money for PPE probably. Have you got the money to pay that tax bill on the grant that you received, or the tax on the loan, or paying your landlord back for the freeze on the rent? Okay, guys, your overheads are going up and up and up. Your customer is going to have to take some of the price burden. Okay, Zaki, I rent my chairs to my barbers for 50% for the day wage. I take 50% and they take 50% of the daily wage, and obviously keep their own tips. Is this right? Okay, so Zaki, in terms of that as an arrangement, there is no problem with that. You can have a 50% commission arrangement as a property owner, if I just call you that for a moment, Zaki, and you have these chairs and you say everything you take, you pay me 50% of it as rent. That's how the terminology should be. Nothing wrong with that. Not illegal, not dodgy, all fine. Where the next step comes in, Zaki, is can they come and go when they want? Can they come in at 9 and finish at 10? Can they wear any trousers they want? Can they cut, can they do awful haircuts if they want to? Can they shampoo if they want to shampoo? Can they sell any products they want? Could they double their price tomorrow morning if they want to? Could they half their price if they want to? That's where the next level of those questions come in. So it sounds like the arrangement you got, Zaki, is perfectly legitimate. Fantastic. The second part of it that HMRC will be interested in will be this. I've heard them saying these words, okay, or people represent is they want to be able to stand on your doorstep of the door, to the shop, and they want to look in, and they're going to decide from that vision whether those people are employed or self-employed. They're not going to look at contracts. They're going to look at you, Zaki. So when you say to one of your barbers, can you just go and shampoo that guy? Can you just run on the shop and get me a sandwich? Can you go over there and get that cleaned up? They're going to be staff because you are telling them what to do. Okay, so you wouldn't go to, I don't know where your shop is, Zaki, but you wouldn't go to the clothing shop next door where you don't work and they don't work for you and start going and go, so listen, can you get those tidied up, please? Okay, can you make sure those sizes in the right order? Okay, can you get that wall repainted? You wouldn't, because they don't work for you. And that is the next level I think that the government is going to be working on. And that's where IR35 was heading, but that's years away now, and that's not for tonight. Oh, and nights out on me. Oh, sorry. I don't do commission. They have days off and a keg of their favorite cider. Ellie, it seems like everything you touch turns to gold. Fair play. I think you're going to make the most amazing coach, Ellie, when you get around to it. Everyone in your part of England is going to be hammered for sure, but they are definitely going to be happy. What about holidays? Should they be made to take now while we're off? Right. Let me tell you about this on holiday, guys. We have got 5 minutes or so left. But if the numbers hold, I'm happy to run over a little bit. I'm going to just say this. On holidays in the UK, this is the situation. You can't make them have holidays unless you do this. If you want them to have a week's holiday, you've got to give them 2 weeks notice. If you want them to take 2 weeks holiday, you've got to give them 4 weeks notice. And if you want them to have a month's holiday, you've got to give them 2 months notice. So Jane, you don't know when the opening is going to come. So if you say to your staff now, I want you to take 2 weeks off, you've got to give them 4 weeks notice. So that means they're off in 4 weeks time for 2 weeks. Okay. You work out the maths. I don't think whilst they're under furlough, it's worth doing. If you think, maybe if you've got a massive team and you don't need them all, then maybe that's an option. Cheryl says, hey, sorry, I'm just taking it all in. Well, Cheryl, that's great. Like I said, normally you're kind of up here giving me a, give me a busy time. Let me just get this one out a moment. Give me a second. Okay, we're gonna have to leave that up there. I forgot about Lisa's comment. There we go. Let's drop that. Okay, so Where we go? Zacky's back, Ellie's back, and Jane about holidays. Cheryl's on board, Sam Blake's on board, Richard's on board. Perfect time to buy lots now if you are VAT registered, because no income, just outgoings. So you have the money. Great time to do that. Absolutely, guys. If you have got, if you are VAT registered, this is the time to be doing that. So thanks, Richard. I hope you're well, sir. Hope you're having a great day. Historians, I didn't know you was on here. Sorry, I call them dinosaurs, but I did give you credit for the comment. Ellie says your pricing app software was brilliant, Carl. I know that, Ellie, but thank you very much. Tori says, do they take their own payments? They should take their own payments. There are some cases in the UK where the salon owner can take payments, and it has to be made clear, it has to be in a separate account how it's done. There are cases where it's not a problem. The way I look at it is this. When Inland Revenue come, if you've ever had an Inland Revenue investigation, what you don't want to do is trying to stand and argue on principle. It's a pointless exercise. There's not even any point saying, well, I was on QCTV with Carl and he said that I could put everything in one till and spread it out every 2 years, okay? It doesn't matter. So they don't even give you definite guidelines. So what I would say about Inland Revenue and the finances is this. Make it as clear as you can, make it as decisive as you can that these people do not work for you. Okay, this is the key thing. So if you can have their own appointment system, if you can have their own appointment book or whatever it is, have their own till, have their own box, let them collect the cash. Make sure that they pay you. All right, make sure that if it goes into a bank account, it goes into a separate bank account. It's all not mixed up with all your normal figures. So what I'm saying is don't put yourself under suspicion. That's the key thing when dealing with the Inland Revenue. Look, they might never turn up at your shop. They might turn up next week. They might turn up in 10 years' time. But I can tell you now, the more complicated you make it, the more risk there is that they will absolutely crack down on you. And that is the simplest way I can put it. Zaki says thanks. Paul says thanks. Can retail be brought into wages? Right, Paul, if you mean, can you use retail as commission as part of the wages? Lots of salons do, okay, but I wouldn't. In fact, I don't even believe you should have commission on products at all, because the whole reason that you would want to sell a product would be to make sure that the customer had great customer service. There's no other reason. I'm not going to sell you a product, Paul, unless you've got a problem that I need to solve. So if you've got dandruff, I'm going to sell you a dandruff shampoo. If you just had a lovely color, I'm going to sell you a lovely color shampoo. Okay? There's no other reason to sell it to you than you need it for some reason. So if you haven't got dandruff and I sell you a dandruff shampoo because I'm getting an extra £2 in my wage packet, what's the point? It's just absolutely daft. What I would do is I would definitely make sure that retail is part of your customer service makeup, and then I would make sure that there are rewards available. So not incentives. I wouldn't ever say sell 10 shampoos and get this. You could do that maybe with gifts. So let's say GHD hair straighteners, the first one to sell 6 gets a free set of GHD straighteners. But retail as part of their service sales, I wouldn't do that. I would have that as a separate target, and I would always use a customer care factor. And though I haven't plugged anyone tonight, and there's not many people left on here, so this book, okay, Salon Product, Sell or Die Trying, talks about a book that I wrote last year, talks about how to treat retailing as part of customer service and not as part of a sales culture. Okay, not that it shies away from talking about sales. I'll never shy away from talking about sales. Sales is everything in your business, but we don't want people selling retail for the wrong reason. And Jane says, thank you, Carl. Always have the answers. Good night. Ellie says, and you. Can we have Ellie on here again after lockdown? Yes, we can. But to just let you know, the next few weeks, we have got a guy from the barber industry next week, who's an entrepreneur. The week after, we have got Marta, who is a waxing specialist. Now, this is really important. If you missed the beginning of the show, Marta isn't going to come on and necessarily tell you about waxing. She's going to come and talk to you about single service businesses, okay? Single service businesses. So how can you possibly be as successful as Marta is, and the only thing she does is waxing? She's going to come on and tell you why that could be a good thing. And she's also going to talk to you about how appointments only could work for your business. Then the week after that, we're going to bring Gemma back. And Gemma's a marketing specialist because it didn't go so great last week in terms of software. We're going to bring Gemma back, and she's going to talk to you about all the things that you need to consider, not just at the end of this recession, but for the rest of the year as well. Okay, just got reading. Oh, sorry. Kerry says she's reading the book. It's amazing. Oh, Michael's got the Kindle. Well done, Michael. That only went out a few days ago, so absolutely fantastic. The audio book should be with us in the next few weeks. As soon as we get kind of lift off from lockdown, you will have an audio book as well. It's all coming, guys. You've got more stuff than you'll ever handle. You've got podcasts, audio books, you've got new retailing sessions, you've got coaching groups, whatever you want, we've got. Thank you, Carl. Feeling a bit clearer headed now. Do you know what, Melissa? It's difficult. This is Quick Coach TV. It's like that. It's a lot hard to take that much information in that time period. I hope it's helped a bit. Anyone who's really stressing, don't worry about it. Give me a call afterwards. And Cheryl says, amazing. Look forward to those as well. Thank you. Okay, guys. So I'm going to dive off. Thank you to everyone who watched me tonight. I will be back here again next Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. every Wednesday night in 2020, trying to answer all of your questions. Hopefully tonight we covered some of them around VAT. For those of you that are interested in business development and developing themselves, then please pop over to my coaching group. It's a free group, but it's only to do with business. We do not talk about hair and nails and all those kinds of things. There's lots of great groups out there for that as well. So that's it for tonight, guys. Have a lovely, lovely week. Stop painting your bedrooms, stop painting your bathrooms. Get out there, get planning, get back to work as soon as you can. Have a great week.